Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, 1 2 1 2, mic check, 1 2 1 2, mic check, 1 2 1 2 1 2. I'm gonna eat your ass and lick it too. Some things never change, man. Some things never fucking change. One thing that is gonna change though is my presence on social media. That's presence with a C, not a T. I will still be delivering you gifts of audio delight periodically, but I will not be sharing my life and what we're doing on social media. I've had a lot of people reach out and say, hey, man, are you okay? Yes. I'm no more worse off today than I was prior to my commitment to eliminate social media from my life. I am no more worse off than I was this morning. In fact, I'm better off than I was this morning. It's a little humid. I could do without the humidity. But listen, the reality is social media fucking blows. Absolutely. Social media is the fucking worst thing that has ever happened. And I don't mean the actual interaction but amongst human beings and friendships that are gained. I'm talking about the fact that there are platforms that are harvesting your data to create an algorithm to then push things to you and brainwash us into thinking and behaving in a specific manner. And that has been going on for a long time, and I can't participate in it anymore. The proverbial straw that broke this camel's hump, my back, if you will, was the fact that 10 days ago, I watched a young blonde lady get stabbed to death on a bus with no human intervention whatsoever. And then it was immediately followed up by a video of a man getting assassinated on stage while he was simply hosting an event to have a spirited discussion amongst people who with differing points of view. And I was not supposed, technically, if you think about the way the universe is, I was supposed to see that video. But I don't think humans were meant to see that video. Like, if I wasn't there, I should not have seen that video. There's no reason that I should have seen a woman get stabbed to death, and there's no reason that I should have seen a man get executed, assassinated on television or on the internet. I shouldn't have seen the bullet enter his body. I should not have seen the blood erupt from his neck. I shouldn't have seen that. I didn't want to see that. I don't go to social media to see that. I go to social media for T and A and S, and the S is for silliness, okay? You all know what the other T and A is. I made a lot of great friends on social media. Fantastic friends. People that I hope are friends for the rest of my life. That is a fact. I've gone to events and I've learned to do things in my life that I would have not learned to do without the benefit of social media. Not the algorithm that is pumping nonsense and spewing hate into our lives. The good part of it, the friendships, the genuine people, the Mobile Hunters Roadshows, the Mobile Hunter Expo, the meetup that I just had here in Michigan, the various podcasts that I have been a guest on, the various podcasts that I have hosted and had people be guests on for me. And that aspect is gonna continue in my life. Not exactly 100% sure how I'm going to do this, because I would utilize Instagram and Facebook for figuring out who I wanted to talk to. I would discover new accounts on those platforms and be intrigued by people, follow along on their journey, and then I would ask them to come onto the podcast. And now, without that, I'm going to have to rely heavily on word of mouth, and that's going to mean that some people that I know a little more closely than others, I'm going to ask you to help me by either reaching out to them for me or sending me their contact information. I don't know. If you don't want to do that, you can go tell me to lick taint. I'm not really sure. But that's kind of my plan for now, because I don't want to stop doing this, but I'm also not really sure how to continue to get people as guests. So I have a couple people in mind that I need to kind of line up. Hopefully those people hear this and can reach out to me. But listen, I put a post out on Instagram. It's got my personal cell phone number on it. If you'd like to stay connected, you can fucking reach out to me and tell me who you are via text, and then I will save your number, and we can be homies, home slices, homeboys, home girls. There's probably not going to be any ladies that reach out, and that's fine. My old lady would not be pleased with that anyway. So, here we are. It is Monday, the 22nd of September, and I thought I should put this out to kind of let everybody know what's going on, because there's been a pretty good amount of people try to make sure that I'm okay, and it isn't me at all. And the amount of people that have reached out and said, "Oh man, I've thought about getting off social media before, so good for you." It's like, well, okay, well, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Do you need it? Unless you run your business exclusively via social media, which most of you don't, you don't need it. I don't need it. Adam and I went to Kansas last weekend, and I never fucking went on social media even for a half a second. That dick licker was sitting next to me in the car, and we were talking about how terrible social media was and how it's so terrible to just doom scroll. And I'd look over, and he'd be fucking doom scrolling in the passenger seat. And I'd be like, "Hey man, you're doing it. You're filling every waking moment with nonsensical scrolling. Like I know you don't need to be doing that, but you're bored, and that's what the default is." And I will tell you this, my thumbs have become so accustomed to closing my email app on my phone and swipe left and boom, pressing on the social media folder, which is no longer there. And so I will actually find myself, it's not my email, it's my weather app. So I'll close my weather and go swipe left, and then boom, to where the social media folder used to be. And it's currently an eyeglass app for where my prescriptions are. So I'll click that and I'll be like, oh, it's not there anymore, and I'll just have to close it out, because my fucking body is so fucking used to mindlessly swiping to the fucking social media app for absolutely no reason. I have no reason to be there. It's not even there, and yet I'm scroll, swipe, there it is. Nope, it's my glasses. And so I say to you people who have said to me, "Oh man, that's really great. I'm happy for you because I've thought about doing the same." Then do it. Just do it. Close your social media account. Eliminate it from your phone. Go outside. Pet a frog. Collect a caterpillar. Let it create a chrysalis in your house and watch it develop into a butterfly. Go up and down your street and see if you can collect any milkweed, and then mail it to a person on the internet who needs milkweed. Write a letter to your neighbor and tell them you think they're neat. Go outside and look at trees. Start studying trees. Go outside and look for a sunflower. One of the most amazing things I found in Kansas was an entire gigantic several 100-acre farm with sunflowers on it. And when we walked, so the scouting that I was doing was I just kind of walked field edges looking for fresh scrapes or cutting a track, and then I would try to figure out if this is something I'd want to set up on. But when we got to that sunflower field, that area in Kansas is right on the monarch butterfly migration pattern, and they must have been like hanging out in Kansas right now, like on their migration, because I saw fucking thousands of monarch butterflies that were chilling on the field edges, going in and out of the sunflowers, on their way, on their migration path. Go outside and look at a butterfly. Go catch a turtle. Go fishing with your kids or your cousin or your nephews or your neighbor or the stranger who hit you up on Craigslist, missed connections. I don't know. Go outside and do something. You don't need social media. Nobody needs social media. I have unfollowed so many people on there that they think I'm a bot. And so they've locked my account. I'm trying to get my followers down to 0. But I'm not going to eliminate people that follow me, because I do feel like there's going to have to be a point at which I pay a third-party vendor to let people know that I have new podcasts out. Or I suppose I could just put them out, and if you fucking find them, you fucking find them. I'm not really sure. So anyway, I just wanted to come on here and talk up to you about that, kind of what I've been doing. Like I said, Adam and I went to Kansas, and we have a tendency to check into the hotel, turn the air conditioning way down, take off all of our clothes, and sit there cold in the air conditioning and watch television. And we also had a tendency to put on MTV. And on MTV in the evenings, I don't know if it's MTV or MTV2, they will play extended runs of ridiculousness, which is Rob Dyrdek and I can't remember his sidekick's name. And then, a lot of the older episodes had Chanel West Coast, but now they have some new broad on there who's like Big Lots Chanel West Coast. And they watch like YouTube videos of people getting hurt or doing silly things, and then they talk about them and they crack jokes, and then they move on to another subject of internet videws, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure you've all seen ridiculousness. So we'll just turn that on and leave it on, and it will play all night long. But what I noticed and actually made a note of is that the most consistent advertisements on MTV in the evening during ridiculousness is a thing called getfridayplans.com for discount Viagra or Cialis. And apparently if you go to getfridayplans.com, you can get different milligram doses of Viagra or Cialis delivered to your house for under $1 a pill. Now, I did not know that people who watched MTV were in such dire need of boners, who struggled so much with erections. Is there truly that many men, many men, many, 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 many men? Is there that many men who can't get a boner these days? Like, I think that ridiculousness is right up my alley. So mid-40s guys, probably to late 40s and all the way down to like early 40s, late 30s. I feel like ridiculousness is right up our alley. And so with that said, these advertisements are targeted to us. Are there really, truly that many men my age who struggle achieving a full and satisfying boner? If you can reach out to me on the side and tell me. The email address is angelroadoutdoors@gmail.com. I will not read your name and information on this podcast unless you want me to. But how many men out there, and this is not, listen, I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. I'm truly fascinated with how many 40-year-old men struggle to achieve a thick and satisfying erection. And are you buying Viagra and Cialis? I have never, ever seriously contemplated buying boner pills. I've never needed it. We've all drank too much and had whiskey dick, but I've never thought, boy, I have a problem here. It's always been alcohol related to where you kind of lose it. But man, I'm really concerned. I was concerned as it was for the current state of the world based on what I just previously ranted about, what you find on social media, and the horrific things that people are saying and seeing and doing. But if you just go out and about and look at your fellow Americans, we're in deep fucking trouble. Deep trouble. As it relates to physical well-being or not, we are in terrible shape as human beings, slovenly and disheveled, and we just look like shit. And listen, I'm not the pinnacle of health, but I'm a fuckload better than the majority of people that are walking around this fucking earth right now. And what do we do, like, for our kids? There's a shit, like, we were just talking, my wife went to the grocery store yesterday, and I think she was saying that the majority of the young people that work at Kroger, which is a grocery store near us, are fucking transvestites. Not transvestites, that's not the right word. Transgenders, trannies. You got a boy bagging your groceries, an obvious genetic male bagging your groceries with fingernails painted, dyed hair, and a name tag that says, "My name is Jade." No, the fuck it isn't. It's not. Your name's not Jade. It's probably Jared or Jefferson, but it's not Jade. It might be Gary or Nicholas, but it isn't Jade. What's going to happen in 20 years when those are all voting age adults and they're voting in elections, your local elections and your national elections? Like, what's going to happen? The generation, the super racist generation, is going to be dead, and it's going to be all of these confused teenagers voting on big fucking decisions. The only positive is that they were at least working. Like, they're not at home diddling themselves in their parents' basements. At least they're going to Kroger and bagging fucking groceries and getting a check. But shame on you parents who coddle your children and allow this to happen. Shame on you. Your child was not born in the wrong body. Neither, if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, I'm a tranny, I was born in the wrong body. No, you fucking weren't. No, you weren't. You're a fucking psychopath. You have a mental problem, and your loved ones have let you down. They have allowed you to live a lie for too long, and I'm telling you right now, I'm pretending that there's a tranny that's listening to this and hasn't turned it off yet. I'm telling you right now, you have a mental problem. Stop it. Stop playing dress up, you fucking idiot. Pull up your fucking pants and go outside. Idiot. Look at the fucking sun. Go breathe some fresh air. Go scream at a duck. I don't know. Just go outside. Stop acting like everybody is wrong and that you really truly are born in the wrong body. No, the fuck you weren't. You just have a fucking mental problem. And all the junk food you're fucking eating is poisoning your fucking brain, and the shit that you're reading on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Snapchat is all wrong. You're wrong. And every single one of us who's allowing it to happen is fucking wrong too. I'm not going to participate in them shenanigans anymore. There was also a lot of gay commercials, AIDS medicine commercials. A lot of dudes winking at each other at bowling alleys. This is all on MTV, by the way. AIDS commercials. It's never, and I was telling this to Adam. When I was a teenager, I thought if I stuck my dick into a girl that I went to school with for sex, like if I wanted to make sex with a girl that I knew that I had the hots for, that if I stuck my unprotected penis into a girl that I went to school with, that I had the hots for, that if I wanted to, as a teenager, investigate the sex, I was going to get AIDS. I thought it was that fucking easy. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot get AIDS by having unprotected sex with random people. You can. But what I think we've all learned over the years is that that's a faggot disease. And you get that from butt fucking dudes, or you get it from using drugs intravenously. You are not, primarily, you are getting something else if you have unprotected sex with the opposite sex. You're going to get another filth disease, like a dirty pee-pee disease is what you're going to get, or a dirty vajayjay disease. You're not going to get AIDS from having unprotected sex with somebody of the opposite sex. You're just not. That is a homosexual disease and a intravenous drug user disease. And so now, when they make these commercials and they put them on television, they have to be honest about what it is. And it's always fucking dudes on these fucking AIDS commercials. And so this one in particular had a couple of bearded homosexuals at the bowling alley, and the one dude's shirt was too short, and every time he raised his hands, his little pooch peeked out from his shirt, and then he bent over, and I swear I saw his butt crack on this AIDS commercial on MTV. But anyway, these two homos sat down across from each other at the bowling alley, and they did little winked at each other. Like, come on, man. Ain't nobody doing that. And then there was a couple of brothers at the dog park rubbing each other's arms while they looked at their shiatsu, or maybe their pug. I don't remember what kind of dog it was. There was a couple of gay brothers at the dog park getting ready to go home and fucking sword fight, if you know what I'm talking about. Do you think homosexual men sword fight? I bet you they do. There's only so much foreplay two guys can do. Like a man and a woman, there's a lot of foreplay you could do. You know, I don't. Maybe I'm just imagining that those two guys sit down or they stand. Do you think they stand up in sword fight, or do you sit down in sword fight? Do you like? How does it work? I digress. Um, Adam and I went to Kansas, as I just made it so abundantly clear. We saw a lot of great sign the first 2 days before season. I jumped an absolute giant out of the corn. Actually, what had happened was I'd walk up this hill of beans, and I got to a utility cut, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to go down there, but I guess I could. I also don't want to go back the way I came, so I was like, I'll just go down the utility cut, hit the road, and then walk the road back to the truck. And when I rounded that corner, it looked like there was a ground blind that someone had left on this weehaw, but it wasn't. It was a bale of hay, one of those giant round bales of hay. And as I got close to it, I had jumped 3 doe that were bedded down right there. And they went and they jumped the barbed wire fence into the corn. And when they jumped into the corn, they must have either landed on or gotten really close to a buck. And so I'm standing there, I'm watching these deer jump into the corn one after another. Boop, 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 boop. And then I heard what sounded like one of the same deer. I'm like, man, that motherfucker is like, sounds like a freight train running through this corn. And so I'm like listening to the sound and following it with my eyes. And as I rotate my body, all of a sudden, this massive buck appears out of the corn. And he hops the barbed wire fence behind me about 20 to 30 yards. He doesn't know what's going on. He just knows that he just got bumped out of the corn. And so he's trying to make a run for it. But he jumps out into the open into this utility cut. And he doesn't look at me. He's looking out towards the beans and down towards the woods. He cannot figure out, the wind is in my favor, so he can't smell me. He has not made eye contact with me. And so I was able to pull my phone out and record this giant buck. He's got to be a good 160 class, maybe even a 170, a low 170s. He's super wide, nice 10 or 11 point, I'm pretty sure. He stands there for like 10 seconds and looks around, moves his ears a little bit, and then he takes off running through the beans. Then we bumped another good buck the next morning down in a bottom, found some good bed, cut some good tracks, found some good sign. And then this is all before season. So the next, we have to make a plan. And what do we do? We decide to get a hotel, and we decide to hunt the most recent property that we saw bucks on. And that was that one. And, it's hot. I mean, it's like mid 90s during the day, like low 60s at night, but it's hot as the dickens during the day. So we get a hotel, and we go sneak in there at gray light the next morning and see nothing. Shocking. And then we hunt there again in the evening, see nothing. And then we hunt there again in the morning and see nothing. Actually, the next morning, I had gone across the street and hunted a different spot, but same general area, same connection. There was like 3 giant chunks of weehaw over there. And I had crossed the street, followed a drainage, I walked across a cut hayfield, snuck down into the drainage, set up on what I would call like a drainage into a small cut going down into a large drainage, large creek bottom. Set up there, jumped a deer, of course, and then saw nothing during my morning sit. So I was in my tree, and it struck me. I was like, it's so fucking hot. Like, these deer are not moving around. I was like, I've seen nothing on stand. The only deer I see are when I'm moving around. So I climbed down, and I packed up, and I went up. I walked up the drainage to the corn, and I'm walking around, just trying to catch a deer, like bedded down or like browsing or something. And I saw nothing. And then I looped back around and walked the corn edge again, and there was this giant overhanging black walnut tree into the corn, and underneath it was like a grassy little bedding area. And I as soon as I stepped foot in that grassy bedding area, 2 big deer jumped out of the woods down into the creek bottom and took off through the woods. So I'm thinking those bucks were bedded, so the wind would have been blowing across the corn. They were tucked down into the drainage a little bit. The wind would have been blowing over their head while the thermals were coming up that creek bottom, creating that little wind tunnel there. Anyway, I went back thinking they might loop around. I backtracked, set up on a high spot looking down at the creek bottom, and then never saw the deer again. I went down and met Adam for lunch, and we decided, you know what? We don't need to hunt this property again. And we were going to go home that night, by the way, anyway. So we scouted 2 days, hunted 2 days. And we decided to drive 2 hours east, basically starting our trek home and hunt one of the first properties we scouted where I had seen the big buck in the corn. And so we did. We drove out there. Adam snuck his way down into sort of a creek bottom between two cornfields. I worked my way up to where the deer came out of the corn, thinking that they might use that utility cut again, and saw not one fucking thing. Not one fucking thing. Didn't see a fucking deer the whole time. Not one deer while I was fucking on stand. So too hot. Didn't like that. Tired of going out there when it's 90 fucking degrees. But that was the beginning of our season. So anyway, listen, I would love for you all to stick around and interact with me via email or text. Like, let's stay connected. I'm just not going to be on fucking Instagram or Facebook. I'm just not. So it's angelroadoutdoors@gmail.com. My cell number is 248-369-9491. Just keep in touch, man. That's it. That's all I got for you. Just keep in touch. We're going to continue to do this. We can talk about our seasons. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But let's not perpetuate what the nonsense is that is social media. We don't need Instagram. They need us. And that's the bottom line. And so if you want, the best thing you can do is just eliminate it from your life and spend time with your wife or your kids or your dog. Or if you don't have any of those things, be alone with your thoughts and go outside and help your neighbor and go for a walk and fuck, man, just get off the fucking internet. So anyway, I love you all very much. I will talk to you all soon. Thanks again for sticking around and reach out, please.